Now, this is a simple acronym, HERO. At Diversity Today, we believe it's very easy to be a hero. All you need are honesty, empathy, respect, and open-mindedness.
My name's Jaime Jesus Sanchez, and I work security here at Pasco High, and I also coach.
I'm Heidi Haynes, and I'm the band teacher here at Pasco High.
So I'm Ms. Alcala. I am an English ELD teacher here at Pasco High.
My name is Bob. Yeah, just kidding. I'm Brent Rust, and I am a new teacher here at Pasco High School. I teach photography, and I'm the yearbook advisor.
Hi, I'm Dominic Wright Jackson. I'm an English teacher here at Pasco High.
I'm Sarah Garza, and I'm also an English teacher here at Pasco High.
My name is Constantino Montes, and I teach math here at Pasco High.
My name is Eddie Curiel. I'm a welding teacher here at the Pasco High School.
Well, my name is Wendy Newberry, and I'm the choir teacher at Pasco High.
I am Saul Martinez. I was a previous student here at Pasco High when I was in high school, and I'm now a SPED math teacher.
My name is Megan Usler. I am a 10th grade world history teacher at Pasco High School.
My name is Jim Brown. I'm an instructional coach at Pasco High School. This is my 43rd year in the same school.
Diversity to me is bringing together people of different backgrounds, different religions, different cultures, them coming together into one place, one atmosphere or environment, and learning to collaborate, work together, understand each other, being accepting of each other's differences, but also embracing the similarities and differences in the way they do life, essentially.
So diversity is tapping into that bucket of challenge and talent and capability. And that's kind of where I see diversity, is that we all have something to offer. You just have somebody that can believe in you and then draw that out.
Diversity means anyone that's different from me.
You only have love for your own race, then you only leave space to discriminate. And to discriminate only generates hate. And when you hate,
we have different levels of Spanglish or Spanish, English. That's what makes Pasco High so unique.
When I first came here, maybe one or two Hispanic or Latino families. And now, of course, we're 80%. And while we have 80% students that are Latino, that's not true of the faculty. From K-12, we're having a good deal of trouble keeping up with all the dual language programs because there aren't enough teachers to go around, enough bilingual teachers to go around.
Here you got people that have been in the United States for several generations, so it might be a little bit different. They might have, and this is kind of a weird word that they use a lot in Chicano studies, assimilated more into the American culture than the people have in math.
You know, there's kids that come from parts of Mexico where there might be only them and their family, and they get thrown into a school of like 2,000. So it's a big adjustment for them. Or even just here in Pasco where kids don't have, might not even really have a home. They're bouncing around from friend's house to friend's house.
Every teacher needs to know who's in their room.
I think the most important thing is knowledge of your students.
So my biggest thing is make sure I say hello, good morning. I stand out here every morning actually greeting them so they feel welcome, and make myself accessible and welcoming to them, so if they do have an issue or a problem, they know that, hey, I can go talk to him.
Finding what our kids' needs are, finding what works for them, whether it's psychiatric help or developing literature, developing their language speaking skills, even just promoting their dominant language has been a big emphasis this year. So I do have students that are very shy and quiet, and it is known as the quiet stage. But what I try to promote is bilingualism, and they're not losing their identity or their Spanish speaking or whatever custom they had in the past. They're gaining two different customs. So it makes them an even more rounded person.
We still do a very Anglo-European style of teaching. We still do very Anglo-European curriculum, and we have a very Anglo-European expectation of what it is to act, to be a student.
I think that we're trying to make sure that we're teaching in different styles to reach different types of kids, not just like their learning styles, but stuff they're interested in and stuff that's relevant to their cultures. Like here, concert band is traditional, like kind of white man music. But I think that we're trying to bring in more like different composers from different styles and different countries and things like that, just exposure to different types of music and composers so that kids can know.
I like to mix it up, obviously. Like I like to have a multicultural concert, which we try to do in the fall, where we include country music from different country, but we also include Mexican music and Latin music, because I'm also learning that Latin music is not Mexican music. And so I will pick a song from Cuba and be like, hey, it's Spanish. And the kids are like, but it's Cuban. And my family wants to hear Mexican music, you know, at the concerts. And so really knowing the differences between the cultural songs, not just picking out cultural songs, but really being specific to the culture that you're teaching is also really important.
How is our change towards diversity is that we're recognizing everybody, not just a few focused people that are more visible or active or loud.
Yeah.
We're trying to find the people that are may not have a voice and then put them in positions of potentiality.
We want to empower our students, VPA or sports or not, or if you don't participate in anything, our goal is to unify and to have power in numbers. And as long as you are a Pasco Bulldog at this school, which we all are, we want you there, we want you present, and we want to be together.
And we are.
It is definitely one of those things where you have to balance out, you know, the priorities and what they're keeping as a tradition or in their culture, but they're also adapting new culture identity. So I do feel like they have to do a give and take, but that doesn't mean they're losing who they are. They definitely have to appreciate their past cultural background and learn how to navigate with both of those.
As far as like for basketball practice, like there's a situation where some of these kids, they eat lunch here at noon. You know, they get the free lunch. And then they come to practice at 3:30, and then they don't get home about 6, and sometimes they get nothing else to eat. So, or they don't have a ride home. So by the time they get home, it's 7 or 8, and then and they don't have something to eat. So some of these coaches I know actually find a way or programs to feed these guys, compared to like other schools where, you know, they do have the parents who pick them up and feed them and whatnot. I know something we struggle with here is, you know, like, why aren't you working hard? Why aren't you, you know, giving us 100%? Well, little do we know that some of these kids really ain't eating, and we got to think of that stuff. We don't not just think, you know, we worry about these kids more than just the 2 hours they're out practice. We have to really figure out if they're in class or going out throughout the day.
We don't tend to see a lot of kids come out for football as much as we'd like, or as many kids come out for some of the more sports that are a little bit more expensive to play, or like tennis, for example. It's just hard to have court access in the winter time, or it's kind of a sport where you have to buy a tennis racket. You have to have a nice court. You have to buy tennis balls on a regular basis. So it's kind of a hard sport to get people involved in that maybe don't have as much money.
As far as talent level here, we're real behind, and it's not because they don't want to be good. Some of these kids aren't going to these expensive camps in Seattle. They're not going to play every weekend in Spokane, or they're not traveling to California to play because they just don't have that money. So as far as something I know that makes us different is, you know, other schools around here, or even just towns as close as we are more fortunate than some of the kids we have here.
Yeah, some kids are, you know, parents, oh, you go out right after school, you go to work. Some people say, you know what, I want better life for you. I want you to go to school, get an education, be something in life. Some people really don't care. Parents like, as long as you get to work and you do what you got to do, that's all I'm worried about.
They're happy to be Hispanic or Mexican or Cuban or Puerto Rican or Chinese, or, you know, you name it. Like, they're excited about that, but they believe that's an outside the classroom thing. Like, they don't think that's something that is relevant to here. And they don't, because it doesn't come up in curriculum, it's not mentioned in school, and I'll be just as guilty, our textbooks don't do a good job. So they feel like, that's a cool conversation, but now we do history. It's like, and that's really sad, because that to me means they don't see themselves as education. They don't see themselves as educated. They don't see themselves as valued in education.
For some of these students, just being able to see somebody or have some sort of role model and say like, hey, he's just like I was, or she's just like I was, and I can do that potentially. So I think we need to get more students to go into the education field, and that's probably one of the only ways we're going to be able to help out some of these kids get out of the mindset that a lot of these things that like education and some of these big careers that people are going into, that they're going to be out of their reach.
Yeah. I can't change, even if I try.
And when I told people I want to go to Pasco, like that's my end goal, I got just like jaw drops. But not positive ones. Like
now, when I got here and people would ask me what I did, and I would say, "Oh, I'm a teacher at Pasco High," 90% of the time there was a negative connotation to that. There's something negative, like, "Oh, that sucks," or "Oh, like the kids are pretty bad, aren't they?" Or "They got a lot of problems," or stuff like that.
Like 2 or 3% of the bad eggs that come out of our school seem to label our school, but we actually have some good kids.
I think that people outside of the Tri-Cities, they kind of stereotype Pasco High and kind of put it in a little corner, in a little box, and that's not what I think Pasco High is.
Where is the Tri-Cities come from? Pasco's the oldest of the three, Kennewick comes next, Richland's the youngest. But yet, for some reason, we still live and die by those boundaries. Like Pasco kids, we'll talk about something that happens in the Tri-Cities. We're like, ooh, you and I, there's a play in Richland. Oh yeah, but that's not Richland. And unfortunately, at least in my encounter, my students, they want to use that as a diminutive to themselves. I'm from Pasco, so that means I don't put a high expectation for myself. And I'm like, what? No, you should be like, I'm from Pasco, which means my city has changed so much in the last 20 years, we could make my city whatever it wanted to be. I'm from Pasco.
I remember going to school at Burbank, and I remember thinking that Pasco was, because it was 4A, so it was just so much bigger and so much cooler than our school. So I remember it just being more as like, man, like they're a real high school. We kind of just felt like this like piddly little place where, somehow they handed us a diploma after 4 years. So, but then it wasn't until I actually came here and started hearing kind of somehow we are lesser, we are not as good, we are more violent and all of these things. And I was just like, that's interesting for me because that's never how I viewed the school.
I would say when I went to school here, the majority of people embraced can I say badass? I said it.
Yeah.
When we were here, we embraced more of the badass reputation that we were Pasco and that we had more minorities and that we were a lot more hood, I guess, than all the other schools. Now to date, I think we are evened out. We do have less of an African American population here, and as well a little bit less of Caucasian, and they're across the town now. But instead, just to piggyback what Sarah said, the confidence level has dropped. It's not as strong as before, where we really embraced it and we took it and we ran with it, and now it's more like we need some sort of refresher or something brand new to kind of pop our confidence back up again.
A lot of people view Pasco as kind of like Pasco High School specifically as like the bottom of the barrel school in the Tri-Cities. So, and then as far as Pasco High students looking at other schools, I think they look at that, and I think some of them wish they could go to some of those other schools, because I think there's been for such a long time, there's been such a negative stigma about going to Pasco High that these students have started to believe it.
Big.
Collaborative.
Terrific. Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome. Exciting and new.
Developing.
A work in progress, definitely.
Brotherhood.
Growing. It's growing.
Fabulous. Inclusive.
Potential energy.
We're prideful in a good way.
We're like a big, beautiful rainbow with so many different colors, but we all gather together and create this beautiful image.
Home.
Oh, that's a good one for you. Beginnings.
We're damn good. That's what's up.